Hey, what up, team? This is Eddie Gray, and we're back in it again, talking about the very best subject in the known and the unknown universe. We're talking about Logic Pro, and today we're talking about automation. So if you want to learn all things automation, let's get into it. Let's go. Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Happy Saturday, y'all. It's Saturday. We're about to have some fun here on YouTube Resources for the Modern Creative. Go ahead and sub. Go ahead and share this information with just one person so we can have a nice communal situation going on here. Go ahead and share this information. Eddie Gray reading the Logic User Guide, Chapter 15, y'all. Let's do it. Here we go. We're going to bring some energy to it. Let's go! Let's go, let's go, let's go. Very good, very good. All right, I see you guys are bringing your A game today on this Saturday. Today we're talking about automation. We've been doing this for weeks on end, and we will continue until the very end. My name is Eddie Gray. So happy to be presenting this information. Now, why it's relevant to you at this juncture is simply because we're giving you real world experience. Look, it's not like I've been doing this for 50 years and I'm so far removed from the beginner's mind, what it's like to actually be a beginner. And it's not like I just started yesterday, so I really can't really contribute to you. I'm somewhere right in the middle. And I've taught so many different people in so many different parts of the world with language barriers and all. And I have created a system that I believe to be is the best in the entire world. And I'm happy that I will be releasing it very soon. And if you're interested in my Logic Pro system, you can email support@hfmusicacademy.com. It will be available for free, simply because I love you. I want you to grow. I want you to win. And it's that simple. So we're going to talk about automation. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. And if you want to know more about what we do, then just go ahead and check out hfmusicacademy.com. So with that being said, like I said, we're talking about selecting, copying, moving, and deleting automation. Let's go. After you create automation points and curves, now remember this is their language. They're using curves to dictate the lines. You can easily change things to meet your needs. So now we've transitioned from how to create automation, the various automation modes, where we can automate, how to automate by utilizing online and offline automation. And now we start talking about copying automation within a track, between tracks, and we can actually move automation within a track as well. So that's what we're getting into just now. When moving regions, you can choose whether or not to move any existing automation with it. So you have the option. All right, when you actually move it, do you want to copy it over? There's a way to have Logic ask you, which I've gone over before. Check out the last video for that. All right, in terms of selecting it, we know that we can drag across utilizing either the automation select tool or just the pointer tool. We know that we can click the automation curve as well with the standard pointer tool or the automation select tool. Now, with non-contiguous, meaning non-connected automation, there's another way to do this. You hold shift and then you select. I'll give you an example in 1 second. You can also shift and click non-contiguous automation points. So let me show you what that means. So I'm in Logic. I want to access automation. That's how we do it there. And you know what? I want to make sure that you're looking at what I'm looking at. Yes, sweet. How we doing, y'all? Eddie Gray, we're back in it again. Thank you so much for joining us. Just do me a favor and share. Go ahead and sub, hit the notification bell so we can always do this 6 days a week. Let's go. All right. So again, we're talking about just selecting these non-contiguous automation. So again, we're inside of Logic, and if you don't see anything happening at the moment, it's simply because I haven't selected anything. So we are in the automation window. This is dictated by this icon. This lets me know. And there's also the graphics look a little bit different. if I hold Control and Shift and I create a selection, no, that's not the key command. There was a key command we went through yesterday. What was it? Nope, that's not it either. Let me try Control Command Shift. Is it this? No, it's not. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go back. It was a pretty sweet key command that we learned yesterday. What? Yeah, let me see. Somewhere up here. Oh, here it is. Control Shift and Option. Control Shift and Option. Okay, so let's check this out. I thought I did that, but it looks like I didn't. So Control Shift. Oh no, I didn't. I held Command. All right, so if I do that, I create a selection. It creates 2 automation points within that selection. This is not falling into the laws of snap to grid, right? The snap mode. It's just depending on your selection. Okay, so I've got some automation, and what we're talking about now is how do I select these? Well, at the most basic level, we can use a pointer, select that one, select that one. Well, what if we had, let's say, 500 more of these, right? It's a lot more complicated than just the 1, 2. And I wanted to select non-contiguous, meaning like not right next to each other. So I can select that one, and then by holding Shift, I can select these 2. And so now I've created a relationship between these selections. Then I can select these 3, for example, or just select the 1 node at the very end. And then now if in effect I raise up or down the volume, in this case this is the automation parameter, then we start to see some changes. So that's how that works. So that's pretty sweet. I do like that. That's a game changer, I would say. Let me go back down to where we currently are, page 614, y'all. Isn't that amazing? Been doing this for so long, and it's just been such a great experience. Okay, so let's talk about selecting specific automation values within a time range. So sometimes you may want to only select specific range of automation points rather than every automation point and curve. How do we do this? You can do this by holding down the Option key. In Logic Pro, hold on Option and drag across a range of automation curves, both vertically to select a value range and horizontally to select a time range. Let's read that again. We hold on Option, we drag across a range of automation lines, curves, both vertically to select a value range and horizontally to select a time range. Let's keep note that automation curves connected to points that have been selected also appear selected, even if those curves continue outside the selected range. All right, so let's decipher this. We have an elaborate selection, okay? And then it says here that you're going to want to hold Option if you want to select a specific range of automation points. All right, cool. So let me take this on, right? I'm utilizing the pointer tool, which is on by default. Hold Option. I create a selection. Boom. So now I've in effect selected these rather than creating just like a broad-based decision. I specifically created a selection between those. So the one thing that I'm not clear on is what is the difference between just selecting while not hitting any keyboard modifier. You can see that these 4 nodes have been selected, and just holding Option. I guess it's just a lot more specific. Do you know what I mean? Like if I just click and drag to the left, we're creating a vertical selection. So it's going to select everything within that specific selection. But if I hold Option, it looks like I can be a little bit more clear with my selection. That's pretty sweet. Now we're just honing in and selecting that and that, rather than selecting without the keyboard modifier, and we're selecting now all 4 points. So that's pretty sweet. I like that. Thank you very much. Let me go ahead and highlight that. Beast mode, let's go. Oh, wait a minute. Beast mode, let's go. Bring some energy to it, as we always say here on this channel. Go ahead and sub. Go ahead and share just one time, guys. That's all it takes. Right, we're bringing all this love to you, all this energy. Want to make sure that you spread it back, right? Spread it out. Make sure that this gets across. All right. We're selecting all automation following an automation point or a curve. All right, let's think about this. What they're saying is, look, we want to select everything from the following automation point. So everything from here after, I want that. That's what I want to select. How do I do this? To select all automation following an automation curve, we want to Option click on an automation. Okay, all right. Logic, you say it, I do it. How high? How low? So here we go. I hold Option while I click on this specific node right here. Now, based on the information, everything after this should be selected. Let's try 1, 2, 3. Boom. Wow. Gotta love it. This is beautiful. This is beautiful.
Extra, big time.
Gotta tell everybody about this. It's really cool. You want to learn all the tricks of the trade? Go ahead and come on over. All right, cool. So look, we're gonna highlight that. That's pretty sweet, right? Gotta admit, that's a nice little trick there. All right. If you want to try out another alternative, this says to select automation data before and all automation after. So now we're talking about before and after. You want to Option click an automation point. So wait. Whoa. What's the difference between those two? To select automation data before and all automation after, a selected automation point Option. Okay, so I'm just not sure. They just told us to hit Option here. I understand that selects everything after, but how do we get the stuff before? They're not getting clear. See, maybe I'll try Option Shift. Nope, I just selected the one. So Option click on an automation point. Oh, wait a minute. On an automation curve. All right, so maybe the distinction is curve and point. Let's try this. Okay, so if I hold Option right here, now this is what they would consider an automation curve, right? Click there. Okay, it's selecting everything past, right? So that makes sense. Very good. Now, what about if I select the actual, here, let me zoom in a little bit. The actual node, right? What happens? All right, so I'll literally click just right there. Okay, but the thing is, we're not getting the selection before. We're getting everything after, and I actually love that feature. But how do I get everything before? That's what I want to know here. That's what I'm trying to find out. I guess the last thing I'll do is I'll just Option and Shift click. That seems to select. Hold on, I'm gonna try this one more time. Nah, that's just yielding the same result. Yeah, so you know what? Not enough information here because I am clicking on the automation point. And I am getting and selecting the automation after, but we're not getting anything before. So I'm going to go ahead and ding this. If you see something different that I don't see, I could have bugs. I could have misread something, right? All of this is open to interpretation and different levels of experience. Go ahead and hit me up. Support at hfmusicacademy.com. You can always just hit us up in the comments as well. I never claimed to know everything. That was never the point of this. The point was to come on and just show some of my modern creatives that this is what it looks like. We're gonna hustle. We're gonna work to get this done. I want you to be consistent. I want to show you what that looks like on a day-to-day, right? Just keep coming in. Just keep putting in the work. Just keep coming in. Keep putting in the work. All right, we're gonna copy automation within a track. How do we do that? We select the points or the curves that we want to copy. All right, roger that. And then typical to Apple and the certain workflows that they implement, you can Option drag that same selection. Any existing points in the target are going to be located. In other words, when you copy something, that information will be deleted. So let's try this out. I've got these 4 points right here. We know that we can create a selection by just dragging to the right, which is nice if you are creating a broad selection. And yet if I hold Option, I can be a little bit more specific, right? So let's just do the broad, right? We have 4 points. And if I have the same guitar part, let's say in the next section, if I hold Option, we can drag this over. And then now, in effect, we've created that same point. Now, it looks a little bit different. Why? Because of all the various parameters. Let's say I literally wanted to take this entire curve, top to bottom, hold Option, click, drag over to the right, and then now we have a direct replica. Now, of course, the very first line, because there's more time here, it takes a little longer to get to that point. So if I were to drag this over, it would be a facsimile, but you get the point. Sweet. I love that we can drag that over. It looks like if you hold down Shift while you're dragging, something else happens. This might be a mistake, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna hold down Shift. They claim that it makes a copy. Let's see. Hold on. Nope. That's definitely a mistake right there. This is really interesting that we've seen this. What they mean to say is Option here, just to be clear. Okay. We've seen this a couple times in the user guide, right? So this is why we want it to be updated. This is why we're throwing out hashtag Edgar Rothermick Logic Pro manual. Like we want Edgar Rothermick to be the one to rewrite and update this. The guy is a master at what he does. Logic, GEM manuals, please check him out. A lot of the work that I do is based around his work and his findings and everything that he's accomplished. I also like to study David Namani and Eli Kranzberg and a host of other logic masters out there. So I just want to make sure that we pay respects to all the individuals that just are doing fantastic work out there. All right, we can edit, copy, paste, traditional workflow. We don't have to do that. Select the track you want to copy the automation to, and then you would edit, paste. We know about that. Hold down Shift while dragging the selection with the. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. I misconstrued this. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah. I know. So I thought they were giving us various ways of doing this, but this is misinterpreted. They were merely telling us how to select something. I thought since we were on page 600, I just kind of I went ahead here and thought that I went ahead. So let's back to beginner's mind. Here they were just merely mentioning how to create a selection, but since we've done that so many times, I thought that we were past that. But okay, let's keep going. Moving automation in Logic Pro. Select the points or curves that you want to move and drag them horizontally or vertically. All right, so that is simple, right? If you want to move something, you can drag it up, drag it down. Any existing points are going to be deleted, replaced. Okay, so no need to show you how to move these because I would say that that's the simplest of the bunch. Let's move on to other stuff that you may not know, though. If we want to adjust the automation symmetrically, now this is really interesting. So we have two automation points of the same value, but they occur at different times. And we want to adjust that automation curve that's between point A and point B. We can actually adjust those 2 points so that both points are moving together. So this is nice. When we Option, Shift, drag, and we move horizontally to increase or decrease the automation curve. Okay, so let's check this out. Option, Shift, and drag. In the case of, let's see, these 2 points right here, okay, and I will bring them up. I'm going to hold Option and Shift, and check this out, my good friends. See how I'm bringing these together? I click and drag left, and then now it brings them apart. So this is a beautiful workflow right here. I get to make my adjustments. Now, of course, there has to be 2, and they have to be in line in order for you to get the full response. So again, Option, Shift, and I am, hold on, grab that one, and then I guess I would have to select them both. And actually, wait a minute. Even if I hold Shift, this is an irrelevant point. So going back to I take it back. I take back what I just said earlier today. So yeah, this is still null and void because really, if you wanted to select 2 points, you have to hold down Option. And then you can hold Shift, Option, and then we can create this this little game that we've been doing where we go back and forth there we go. So let's see, what's a good way to look at this? For example, so let's say I have 4 points and I drag up here. So you see, here, let me just drag up, drag this down. All right, so again, Shift, Option. There we go. See how it's bringing those 2 points together? So it's bringing point A and point B either closer when I drag to the right or farther apart if I drag to the left. A pretty fascinating little workflow there. So we're going to copy that, adjusting automation curves symmetrically. That's not what I was looking for. Between 2 horizontally aligned. So they have to be in somewhat close proximity in order for it to really work. So 2 horizontally aligned. So you see this point and this point, for example, and we can bring them closer or we can bring them further apart. All right, let's keep going. Page 615, creating a vertical automation line. So we know we can create horizontal lines. How do we create something that is directly opposed to the other, right? Right on top, right on bottom. When the display shows 2 automation points, different values connected by a vertical automation curve, in other words, they occur at the same moment, it creates the effect of an instant parameter change. Okay, so give me more. This can be useful if you wish to create an instant on or instant off type effect, rather than a gradual parameter change. So sometimes you just want to cut off the volume of the reverb, or make sure the cymbals just choke. In Logic Pro, drag an automation point or curve to the left toward an automation point with a higher or lower value. Drag an automation point curve to the left toward an automation point with a higher or lower value. When you do that, the automation point you're dragging snaps to a position directly above. This is new to 10.5 or 10.6 from what I remember. Maybe 10.4, but right around there. I remember reading this in Edgar Rothermick's book. So basically, as soon as you align two of these automation points, you can directly make sure that they're on top of one another for hard cuts. You can also drag an automation point to the right toward an automation point with a higher or lower value, but the automation point you are dragging does not snap into a vertical automation line. So what they're suggesting is that you move from right to left. It's a bit of a cleaner workflow, because if you move from left to right, the automation that you point is not going to necessarily snap in vertically. You can also drag an automation to the right toward with a higher or lower value, but the automation point you're dragging does not snap into. So let's put this to the test. Let's start from right to left. So for example, we are playing with this guitar here. This time I will hold Option. I'll create a selection between these 3 points. Okay, so in between bar 10 here, beat 3, I'm going to go ahead and drag this. You see I'm dragging from left to right, and then at some point, this is going to literally lock, right? Let's just keep going. Just keep it going, and boom, we're right there. So these should be in the exact same position. Let's see if this is true. So position 10, beat 3, division 1, tick 219, and I'm just looking at the help menu tag for that. And this is just about the same, but it's tick, 231, 220? 231, 218. So it's like right there. I mean, literally, I just have to move one tick over, but it looks like there it is, 218. All right. So this would create this kind of effect where it's going to play out for a sec and then just choke out. This is not the appropriate place, but just take a listen. Oh, I got plugins for days. Let's go with this. Good. So you see how it plays out and then it just completely chokes? Here, let's give this a spin. Again, it has a very specific creative purpose. It could be for mixing. It could be like a gated effect as well. I mean, there's no limits to this, as you know. So that's pretty cool. So that was from left to right. Should we try left to right? That was from right to left. Let's try the other way. Let's see if it works this way. So we're looking for, I mean, I wouldn't see why it would be different, but we got to check it out. That seems to work quite well. I don't see toward an automation point, but the automation point you're dragging does not snap. Yeah, I'm not sure what this means. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just not clear what it means. I just dragged it to the right toward an automation point. Yeah. So for now, strike through. But again, if you find something different, hit us up. Move regions with or without automation. We've talked about this already. I've covered it in the last video, so I'm not going to do it again. I will gloss over this. If we go into preferences, automation pane. Is this inside of preferences? Automation. Wow, that's cool. I didn't realize it was actually here as well, because I was talking with all my good people last time that inside of the menu bar, we can go ahead and change the settings here, but it looks like we also have it available down here. And of course, if we change it to always and we come up here, of course, that's going to also correspond. So that's pretty cool. I always say there's more than 1, 5, 10, 15 ways to skin a cat in Logic Pro, so that's pretty amazing. Well done, well done. Let's keep going. If you control click the track lane and then choose one of the following options, it looks like that you can also do this. Okay. They have not specified if this has to be on or not, but I guess I'll just give it a go. Oh yeah, so as long as automation is on, you can designate what exactly you're going to do. Like, hey, can you always move the track automation? Can you ask to move the track automation with regions, et cetera, et cetera? So that's pretty cool. It looks like you can access your automation preferences by hitting Option A as well. That's pretty sweet. And then the last thing, you can access snap automation, or at least turn it on by doing that. So if I click here one more time, and then I disable snap automation, that's obviously going to be reflected inside of the snap to grid mode, as you can see there. Pretty cool. Let's keep going. Move a region selection with its automation. Okay, so we want to move everything together. We know that we would use the typical, copy C, copy V. We can paste, and depending on which setting you have selected, it's either going to ask you, or it's just always going to do it, or it's never going to do it if that's how you designate it. How do we bend an automation curve, right? For realism, authenticity, right? To get the idea to come across a little bit better. There are a couple things. You can use the automation curve tool, right? At the most basic level. I will suggest the keyboard modifier, Control Shift. Next level, Control Shift acts as the automation curve tool, which allows me to bend these, right? Just like that. This is being a little funny, but yeah, just like that. You see how I'm bending it back and forth? Yeah, you guys shouldn't have any latency on your end, but you'll see what I mean when you do it. And then, yeah, as stated, it's also a tool. If you work better with the tool menu, that's cool too. Yeah, this one's not being very cooperative right now, right? It's just like wiggling around, but you could do stuff like that. You can create nice fade outs. But like I said, this one's being interesting to say the least. I want to delete all this automation with one swoop. I go into Mix, Delete Automation, and delete all visible automation on this specific selected track. So that brings me back down to 0. So in that case, I'm just going to Option click the volume slider, which brings me back to my default value. All right, cool. Let's keep going. We want to change an automation curve into stepped automation. Whoa. Okay, so I have a bend. Change my mind. And I want to create the stepped automation, or the traditional workflow, which you could see here on the right-hand side. All right, so what do we do? How do we do this? So we want to Option click an automation curve that is utilizing the automation curve tool. So they're giving it away. They're saying, hey, just want to let you know, we have the automation curve tool selected. Then you want to Option click to return the automation curve to its previous state. All right, let's do some stuff here. TP, I bring up the pencil tool. TT brings me back to the pointer tool. Control Shift, keyboard modifier. We drag down in order to bend. There we go. That's a nice curve. And then they're suggesting when you have the curve tool selected, that's what I'm assuming, that as soon as you Option click, it should go back to its state. So let's select the automation curve tool. Roger that. And then Option click. And then boom, stepped automation. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. Actually, one of my guys over at HF Music Academy, he was asking me this question. He's literally asking me this question. It's pretty wild. Actually, yeah, this is good. I'm gonna go ahead and let him know. Oh, that's not what I want. Let's go ahead and highlight that. Sweet. So again, you have a curve. You want stepped automation. All you got to do is Option click, and that gives you that value. That's pretty nice. All right, what else? Control Shift Option. What is that going to do? It will return the automation curve to its previous state. Let's see. Control Shift Option. Okay, so let's see. By Option click, we go back here. Okay, and if I hold Control Shift Option, what happens now? This is not entirely true because right now I'm just holding Option. Oh, wait. Ooh, okay. So it actually is true. Okay, so hold on. Let's start from... Hold on. How do I reset this? T, automation curve tool. Okay. All right. So straight line. Let me bend it. And it says at the top, you Option click. It takes you back to stepped editing. So Option click, Option click, Option click. Okay. So that's that behavior. And there's something else. If you Control Shift Option click. Something else happens. The automation curve goes back to its previous state. So let's say Control Shift Option. So Control Shift Option. So what is the difference between those two? They look exactly the same to me right now. Oh, I don't know if that was even intentional. Yeah. So yeah, Option click, Control Shift Option. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, somebody let me know. Let me know what you find. It looks exactly the same. Trying to see if the language changes. To Control Shift Option, the automation curve, to return the automation curve to its previous state. But this does the exact same thing. That's the only thing I'm not exactly sure about. Yeah, if you see anything else, please let us know. But still, a great find regardless. Let me just take out this information. All right, let's talk about deleting automation. Let's go. Beast mode. All right, you can delete individual automation points, multiple automation points, or use a number of commands to delete automation across tracks. All right, this is going to be good. Obviously, at the most basic level, we can just double click. So let's say I want to get rid of that automation point, double click, and boom, you're done. All right, we can select the automation point and then hit delete. So you got another option, my good friend, right? Let's say, hey, I don't want that one. You just hit delete, right? Or you could say, hey, I don't want that one and that one. You can hit delete, and not sure if that got both of them. Hold on. You gotta take your time with this stuff to make sure it's really working, right? So let me see it. Deleted all three. Delete. Yes. All right, sweet. Let's go. Drag across the automation point with the eraser. Okay. TE brings the eraser. I am dragging across and I am saying goodbye. Now what's interesting is I dragged again. Oh no, maybe I was just See how I keep going left and right and it just keeps creating that point. I'm not sure what that's about. But let me go ahead and start erasing some automation. I'm just going to click and drag to the right. Oh, there you go. That did it. All right, cool. Eraser is powerful. Let it be known. Delete. Let's see. Did I miss any? No, that's cool. Logic Pro select multiple automation points. Oh, yeah. Hey, quick note. Make sure that no regions are selected. What do I mean? Well, we have the automation curves, meaning the lines, the nodes, meaning these points that you see there, there, and there. But if you have one of these regions selected, as I said, if they're selected and you hit delete, they're going, including their automation data. So make sure that these are not selected by mistake or what have you. The only way that you can select these regions when you're inside of the automation window is by clicking at the top of the region itself where you find the region name. And that's how you can kind of get around. Let's say you wanted to mute these or something. I don't know, delete them. That's how you do it. Okay. All right. We got some sophisticated stuff coming on page 617. If you're liking the content, go ahead and sub. We're giving you all the information so you don't have to relearn this twice. You don't have to go watch 500 videos. You watch just the best of the best. You integrate it. You work the plan, and then you just hit the ground running. All right. Delete visible automation on selected tracks. All right. So I actually showed you this earlier. Let's say you're like, yeah, these automation choices not working. I'm not digging them. You want to go to mix. You want to go to delete automation. And you want to delete all visible automation on the selected track. That's going to delete every choice you've made, including all the pan, including any effect parameters. Or you can just delete visible automation. So what are you currently looking at, right? What's visible on my screen is the volume, in which case the key command Control Command Delete will delete everything that I'm looking at. Again, conversely, if I'm looking at pan, and let's say I made some decisions here, and if I hit Control Command Delete, it will delete the pan information, but not the volume automation. So that's pretty sweet. All right. What is this? Delete orphaned automation. Okay, let's read. Removes all the orphaned automation from the selected track. Okay, well, thank you, but I need some more information on this. Automation can become orphaned when copied between tracks. Not a lot of information. I need more, right? My brain needs to digest more. Orphaned. Okay, here's what I think they mean. I'm gonna give it a go. Okay, so like let's pretend there's some stuff like I don't know in the distance. I assume it's the stuff that's not close. Let's try. Okay, we're gonna go to mix. We're gonna move. No, we're gonna go to delete, and we're gonna delete orphaned automation on selected track. Nothing happened. Okay, so then the only other logical explanation is that you drag this over. I don't know. Let's say you wanted it, like right there, for example. Let's see what happens now. Does it delete the final point? I have no idea because I need more info in order to get this done. All right, we try that. Nothing. Nothing. Why not? Why didn't we get anything? Let's try this again. Maybe I'll go a little bit harder. Maybe I'll drag the whole thing. Okay, so I don't know. Let's select everything. Make sure it's in focus. Not sure, team. We'll figure this out. Mix, delete automation. We're talking orphaned automation. Nothing. Last thing, I guess my last resource is to go up into the help tag, type in nope, and create MIDI. No. Okay. So someone's got to contribute to the communal conversation. Deleting orphaned automation. All right. What? Please give me something to work with. Automation can become orphaned when copied between tracks. Like, seriously? You mean like another track? You got to give me something. So let me go ahead and, like, for example, drag let's do, hold on, just for fun. Let me deselect, let me click that one and that one. I mean, I'm just going to try it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I guess I'll try this. So go to mix, delete, orphaned automation, nothing. Wow, tough crowd. So yeah, we need some more information. There simply just isn't enough to cover ground. Worst case scenario, I can always look at Edgar Rothermick's incredible GEM manuals, and we can get to the bottom of this. So I will also take a picture of this. You know that depending on which session we're on, we're making sure that if we miss something, that we come back and we cover it. This one's pretty sweet. Delete redundant automation points. It's going to basically remove anything that's on top of something else. So anything redundant, it will delete. And then, of course, you know what all is going to do. So in the case of, and I've shown this on another video, but if I have, like, you know, a bunch of little points, you know, sometimes you get really detailed and you've got like that one and that one and that one and that one and that one. I believe if there's like more than one on top of another, it's basically just going to, like in this case, there's like 3. I don't know if it'll delete it here, but we're going to try this. And so we're going to go mix, and we're going to go to delete redundant automation points. And you can see that it's like, hey, it's probably not making that much of a difference. You're not utilizing them, so it starts deleting stuff that doesn't make sense in the context of your selection. All right, hey, there's key commands for all this stuff too, so check those out. We're moving into snap automation after we come back from a word from our sponsors. Here we go. Cool. Happy Saturday, y'all. How you doing? So I got a question here on the comments. What's going on? X, how do you set the values in the automation points without moving them down or up? And this is the time where I'll usually answer these questions when we come back from these breaks. So this person here is using using Cubase as an example. And they're saying, hey, in Cubase, you can actually type the number out, right? So you don't necessarily have to drag it up or down. How do we do that in Logic? I actually got something for you. And thank you for that question. Much love. So the way that you do that, my good friend, is, let me bring you in Logic. There's actually a corresponding key command. We don't have anything as sophisticated as typing in, but let's say you wanted to drag this value up or down. There's actually a way. If you go into the key command window, and let me type in automation. You see how it says here transpose region or event, or you can raise it up by a semitone, or nudge automation up or down. In fact, let me increase the size of this column 1 step or down, or by 10. So this is pretty sweet. Let's go ahead and check this out, yeah? So in the case of this one automation node, XX, if I hold Option and I go up or down, this is how we can make that adjustment, right? Conversely, if I hold Shift in Option, I can go up by a value of an entire decibel, or I believe that equates to 10. Yeah. So All right, hope that helps, and I appreciate the question. Any questions you have, hit us up. We're here at your service. It would be great if it was specific to the subject matter, but I'm happy to help out anybody, where they are on the journey. I'll never forget one time I was on a train. I know, like, who rides a train, right? But I was on a train going to Santa Barbara, up north. Gonna take my daughter to the zoo, taking the family out, and it was a beautiful experience, by the way, absolutely incredible. And I was reading my logic book. Of course, I'm always in the game, no matter whether it's a day on or off. And some enthusiast just came up to me. Oh my God, I'm so glad that I'm meeting you. I'm like, whoa, take it easy, And he's like, I've been wanting to ask this question. Like, I know you're going to know it. And so I'm like, all right, let me know what the question is. And if you use Ableton, you'll know how when you create a selection, essentially their pointer tool is a combination of the pointer tool that we use and the marquee tool. So what's interesting is in Ableton, if you create a selection with space, you can copy the entire selection with the space. And so, I've been studying this. I've been working at it day in, day out, every single day. And so I just told him, oh yeah, you need to use the marquee tool. Make sure you're using in the proper snap to grid so you can create a precise edit, and then just hit Command R, and that's going to do it. And he was just absolutely blown away. Like, I was able to answer it in 1 minute. The point is if you have a question, there's probably a solution. I'm going to say 9 out of 10 times. So if you have any questions, you want to learn more about the program, we're going to be releasing some world-class content. I'm telling you, this thing is so next level. In fact, I'll give you a demo of these resources in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. Again, thank you so much for the question. Much love, much respect. Let's get into Snap Automation. Here we go. All right. So up to this point, we know how to utilize automation: the when, the where, the why, the how, and we now know how to apply some basic copy and selection actions. Okay, so then now we're moving into Snap Automation. Why this is important is because we're going to want to do this with a fine level of control. Now, this is when Snap Automation comes in to the picture. You can snap track automation. All right, so this all falls under the laws of snap to grid. You can choose if you want automation to automatically use a division value, or you can choose a different snap value as well. So this is actually important. If you want it to use the default value, it will choose whatever your current grid value is, right? And how you find that, my good friends, is right up here. So my grid value, and by default it's on at all times, is 16. If you don't have this on, do me a favor, customize and control the control bar here and select the division. So you see how it says time signature and division? You want this on. Very important. Not necessarily just because of the time signature. A lot of people don't even use this. I suggest you do, but because the division is here. And this division identifies the grid and how things are looking inside of the grid. So when you're creating your edits, you want to make sure that this is on because, of course, there's a lot of relationships that are tied to the project grid. For example, your snap to grid. When you select division, where do you think the breakdown is coming from? Where do you think the algorithm is coming from? The division inside of snap to grid is connected to the LCD and what you select for the overall grid of this. When you utilize nudge, where do you think this value comes from? Again, comes from right here. And then, of course, your snap to grid. When you set it, it is also going to comply with your grid division. So let's read more. Snapping is available. You can also offset automation by moving it slightly forward or backward in time. Offsetting automation compensates for any audio hardware latencies. So they're just giving you a little tip, like, hey, just letting you know, you might want to offset it, because maybe your hardware won't catch on, or, your processors won't catch on as much, yada, yada. So just giving you a little heads up. All right. So snap automation points to the chosen snap automation value. Page 618, Logic User Guide. Logic Pro. Want to go into the snap to grid? Choose snap automation. So you want to hover at the very bottom of the screen, and then you activate. the snap automation. Automation edits snap to the value chosen in the snap automation. So it's up to you. Is this going to be half, quarter notes, eighth note, 16th? Good. All right. So if you want to offset, how do we do this? So let's pretend that automation is on. Snap automation is on. How do we offset the information? Right? Well, believe it or not, this is actually something that you could include inside of your preferences. So let's do that now. We're going to adjust the snap offset parameter in tick values. How much? Well, it depends. I have read that probably the best setting to have here is a -5. And let me tell you why. It's right there. Or 0. By the way, if you haven't had any problems with this, don't adjust it. But this will happen at some point, especially the longer that you do this. You'll set up a delay. Could be a plugin, or you'll set up a piece of hardware, and you notice that it's not perfectly lining up. And so, like for me, I remember I would bypass plugins, and then when I bypassed them, they would turn off like a second later. So I realized, or milliseconds later, I realized that what was going on was the plugin just wasn't responding appropriately. Now, if you want to call it, plugin processing latency, I'm not sure exactly what was in the surface, underneath the surface, but what I realized was when I used snap offset and I set it to a value of -5, it completely rectified that issue. Now, since those days, I've been able to purchase a newer computer. I've had this one for a bit, and I'm not having this issue anymore. But if you find that this could, be a good solution for you, keep it in the back of your mind. All right. So that's automation snap offset. It's right here. And it's right there. So again, the idea being that the automation is not, like, for example, just really quick. Let's say I wanted like a really hard cut here for this intro, and when I played it back, I still heard it like, a millisecond or two after. Then that would be the perfect opportunity to either choose snap offset -5 ticks. That seems to be a good place that works for me. But the other thing you could do, of course, is quite literally move the selection. Let me hold shift and create a selection here. All right. And then just move it over a little bit. Now, what that value is, how you want to do this, we can be, a little bit more lax about it, or we can start implementing the tools. What kind of tools, Eddie? Well, we talked about dragging 2 automation points, one on top of the other. So that might be the first line of defense. And then the second thing is probably doing something like snap automation and maybe 30-second notes, right? And making sure that's active. Oh, wait, I could do this over here. I just remember that. See, this is why you do this stuff. Hold on. Automation. Wait, can I turn on? Yeah, snap automation. Okay, so now it's on. And so I could take these 2 values, and then now with the beauty of math, right? Logic can do all the work for me. Did you see how quickly I made that adjustment without even trying? Watch. Click, drag to the right, boom, right on the money. So that happened because my snap automation value is set to 30-second notes. You could have set it to, something a bit more of higher value, but I just kind of figured at least I'll get, close to it in the ballpark with the higher value. So cool. Yeah, I think that's good for now. Let's keep moving. We want to edit automation event inside of the event list editor. Wow. Okay. So you guys, if you may have remembered that week where we were climbing Mount Everest, that's what it felt like anyway. We were going over some tough topics. Was not easy. It was not pretty, but we got through it. There's a way to edit all this information inside of the event list editor, key command F. So here I am. How do I control automation with this incredible feature? Let's see. Well, automation event list key command. Wait a minute. We need to assign. There's something called the track automation event list. Whoa. Are you serious? Hold on. Track automation event list. Here we go. must have spelled it. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. Event. Here we go. All right, guys. Moment of truth. Boom. Ooh, nice. Looks exactly like this screen, though. Why did they build up the hype? Hold on. Why did they build up the hype? Window, audio. This looks exactly like the event list editor. Oh, is it any different? Looks exactly the same. Is there something I don't see? Nope. Exactly the same. Why? Yeah, okay. What is the difference between the event list editor and track automation event list editor? Do not comprehend. This looks exactly the same. But regardless, let's go with the flow. Let's move with the river here. All right, so we have this window up. Do we get anything else? Edit track automation. So we know we can edit individual events inside the automation event list window. You can edit the position, the length, the value, and so on. So wait a minute. Okay, so maybe volume. Okay, so maybe this. Okay, so wait, one more thing. Just want to make sure that we're all talking the same language here. If I open up the event list editor here, yeah, so it is the same information, but I guess it's, I don't know, closer to me or something. I'm not sure why it's any different. And I suppose it's this. When you're inside of the event list editor, and let's say you select another region, you could see that the information has changed inside of the event list editor because, of course, key focus is in play. So I've selected this audio region, so now this information right here is focusing on that. But with the, let's get that terminology right, the track automation event list, the automation is still front and center. Okay, so this is beautiful right here. I'm not sure if you're really seeing the value just yet, but I'm telling you this is a great thing because we can control the automation points independent of the event list editor and what it's focusing on. So let's say I click on this specific automation point. This one right here corresponds with that NODE, that node. So if I was like trying to really do something in depth and needed a bit more of a subjective kind of overview, objective overview, then I would, increase or reduce the value here. So you can see how I'm increasing the value and decreasing it, right? We can numerically, going back to my question from the user XX, we can increase the velocity by typing in a numerical value. So let's say 30, for example, right? So now that brought that down. And let's say the next 5 notes, I wanted to increase all of these up to 120, then we can do that. And so there's an offset there, so it's increasing everything. So if you're a bit more scientific and practical and you don't necessarily like to be in the thick of the woods like some of us do, then this is a great way to be able to look at the information from a broad-based. Stefan Roland, good. Found your channel while doing research for a project. Cool. Thank you, Stefan. Much love, much respect. Really, really great, and great for helping me learn more about logic. Hey, thank you. Hold on. This is a salute to my man right here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. We just want to give people the real information. We know there's a lot of fluff. We know there's like a lot of channels where they're just kind of editing everything, and that's fine. That's great. But you also have to know the real deal stuff, right? How does it look on a day-to-day basis? And also, to me, the value is in the troubleshooting. How do we troubleshoot, and how do we, because it's going to happen. I mean, I see a lot of people, and technically speaking, a lot of people give up, right? And I never want that to happen to any of you. I don't want that to be the reason why anybody gives up, right? Look, you shouldn't give up until you're done with it, until like, I am completely done. I don't want to do this anymore. But if it's in your heart and you really want to fight and you really want to do it, then you should go for it. That's just the bottom line. Don't let technology hamper your dreams. Don't let technology be the reason that you don't do this, right? That's a shame. Do not let the tech hold you back. It's our servant, and it should help us propel to that next level. So anyway, thank you for that question. Much love, Stefan. Beast mode. All right, cool. All right, let's get back into it. Like I said, you got any questions, any comments? Again, much love. But yeah, we're here to serve. Want to make sure everybody's good. Let's keep it going. Where's my... Okay. All right. So now we know how to utilize the automation event list window. There is a lot of value there. I am telling you in good faith that if you learn it and if you at least try it on, that it'll make a difference. And not only, of course, can I adjust the actual value, my good friends, I can adjust the position if I wanted to as well, right? So why is this useful? Hey, I don't know, maybe your hands are tired and you just don't want to make a bunch of detailed moves. You've been on the DAW for 16 hours, right? I know I've been there several times. It's like I'm just like done, right? I want to make my user experience a little bit more chill, right? And this is another way that you can do it, okay? So I'll move the position here. Why don't I just double click and just hit bar 5, for example? So then now it moved all that information over to the left. Why don't I'm curious if I hold shift, if it adjusts everything all at the same time. I don't know if it's going to, but I'm just curious. 7, no. I'm curious if there's a way to adjust all of this at the same time. Not sure if there is. Yeah, we're moving on though. So let's keep it going here. Keep this train going. We're using write automation. Okay. So not the automation mode, to be clear. So we're actually writing in automation utilizing a controller. So I have, let me show you guys real quick. Can you see me? Yeah, you could. All right, so I have a circuit. Let's see if I could get this in camera. Geez, kind of tight. I'm just gonna pull it out. So I've got this little guy right here. All right, this thing's pretty sweet. And the reason I like it is because, see how I've labeled it? Like this is where my reverb is, yada, yada. Is because I get to control a couple of parameters that I use all the time while working, right? So the first is high cut, high pass, and then low pass. It's always on by default. So anytime I instantiate any EQ, whether it's a channel EQ, and I just do the logic stock, I could just create a band pass or just, high cut, just automatic. You find yourself doing this action time and time again, and so why not just automate it, right? Why do we have to do this over and over and over again? So get yourself a nice little controller. You don't have to get this one. I just like the knobs. Everything's right in front of me, and then I also like the fact that it's scale driven, so I can just access a scale, and I don't have to think about like the white notes and the black notes. I'm actually practicing piano quite vigorously these days, but still, I just want to, like, if I'm just trying to play a quick beat, I don't want to think about like, where is what. I just want to hit something and get an instant result. But what we're going to go after right now, you see how it says auto quick access? So this right here is going to make your workflow that much faster. And how we're going to make your workflow fast is because we're going to set this to be your number one go-to knob. So depending on which automation parameter you have selected, could be from a plugin parameter, it could be the LFO, it could be anything. I mean, it doesn't matter. Attack, right? Release. You can control anything that's on the screen. So we can go from volume, make some adjustments, pan, make some adjustments, low cut, high pass, make some adjustments. And so that's what we're going to get into right now. So let me go ahead and set this up again. I got to show you guys my setup one of these days. I've been putting out so much content. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we're putting out 2 videos a day. It's been pretty next level. Really happy about all the new subs, all the comments, just like really, really positive environment. I couldn't ask for a better crew, so thank you guys very much. All right, well, let's look at automation quick access. Again, I already have it set up for you. I want to just show you where it's located in case you're doing the work with me here. So we're going inside of Logic, yeah. Preferences, automation, roger that. It's not actually here. It's inside of your project settings. Let's see, where is it? Automation, AQ, my bad. It's down here at the bottom. Okay, so you can see it says automation quick access, and it's either on or it's off. Okay, so let's just say for you it was off. Then you're going to want to turn on automation quick access. And once you do that, my good friends, you want to hit that learn message. And when you do, then you start to turn the rotary knob or slider. If your keyboard has sliders, it doesn't matter. It's just a MIDI message, right? the one thing is you don't want to have a note on and off. So it's not that kind of MIDI. It needs to be a rotary knob or it needs to be a slider. And then after that, you start to perform the action. So let me go ahead and hit it right now. I'm going to go ahead and click on learn message, and then I will start turning. Okay, so do me a favor. Look at track number 5 behind the preferences. Do you see how it's controlling the volume slider? Well, the reason that's happening, my good friends, is simply because volume is selected. Let's say in turn, I have pan selected, and I'm turning the same knob, Automation Quick Access or AQA. Guess what? Now I get to control that parameter. Do you see the pan knob? Do you see it working? Right? This is happening live on the spot, and I didn't have to learn anything. It's just, it becomes this global parameter that I can access. Let's go ahead and play with the attack of the compressor. This is obviously not something we would do in a mix situation. I'm not gonna do this right now. I'm just trying to explain to you that I can control any parameter. So right now I'm controlling the attack, right? You see how it's going back and forth here? Here, let me click this. So any parameter that shows up inside of the parameter menu will be altered. Let's do one more just by way of example. Let's do the channel EQ, and we'll do the high cut frequency. I have a selection there, and so then I'm moving Automation Quick Access, and you see how we're able to go back and forth, yeah? All right, cool. I think you guys understand. All right, let's go back into it. Logic Pro provides support for a number of dedicated control surfaces that make writing and editing track automation fast, efficient, and easy. That's what I want for you guys. Fast, efficient, and easy. Depending on the facilities available, you can simultaneously write automation for several channels, right, by utilizing groups or multiple plugin parameters if you wanted to. So we can create global maps. So if you wanted to like map the low cut with volume, you could do that, or low cut with delay, which is a pretty sweet sound if you've never tried it. Any MIDI controller, right, could be the modulation wheel, a front panel slider, a knob, a rotary knob like I just showed you, can be used to write automation. So I need you to start thinking about what you're going to use. For those of you that don't have a keyboard, there's a really, really sweet app that does a lot of this stuff for you. I'll be making a YouTube video on it soon. If you want to check it out, just let support at hfmusicacademy.com. That is the company that I work for and with. And so the more requests they get, they tell me, hey, make a video on this. And so this is how we're getting things done these days. So if we see a popular response, people want to see certain things, let us know. You can use support at hfmusicacademy.com. You can use one such controller for all automation. So you can have a dedicated controller if you want. It could just be whatever's on your desk, or you can assign individual controllers to different parameters. All right. So let's get right into it. Automation Quick Access. This is probably the premier feature in terms of automation. With Logic, it literally makes track automation extremely fast and simple if you only have one hardware MIDI controller available. I use it and I have a couple, so I just think it's sweet because you just get to go, move really fast, make quick decisions. All you need is one fader, and you can control anything and everything. Or if you just have the modulation wheel, then you can utilize that. You can use the single hardware controller to automate the currently active automation parameter of the selected track. So again, I always tell you to only pay attention to the things that matter, right? None of us are going to remember 1,000, 1,200 pages of Logic, but we can remember certain phrases. This is one of those phrases. You can use this single hardware controller to automate the currently active automation parameter. So anything that is up in the automation parameter, you can affect with one rotary knob, one slider, or your modulation wheel. Okay, how do we set it up? I told you. Preferences, you go to the bottom. It's off by default. You click on, you turn that rotary knob, you raise up that slider, and then, or you turn the modulation wheel, and boom, you're in business. And then let's say you ever want to turn it off for some reason. I don't know, maybe you need to use your modulation wheel to actually modulate another parameter. Then you would just turn it off. And then every time you turn it back on, Logic recognizes it. There may be times you have to kind of reassign, but generally speaking, it works, yeah? Okay, the done button changes into a learn message button. Clicking the learn message allows you to assign a new controller. Clicking the edit button opens up the controller assignments where you can assign the controller manually. So it looks like, never even checked that out, I gotta be honest. There's a way to assign the controller manually? Jeez, that's intense. All right, so if they walk us through it, I'm happy to do it. Let's see. Hold on, boom, did we do that? Yep. If you choose the modulation wheel for automation quick access, you might want to switch between using it for automation quick access and normal modulation. See, that was the point I was making earlier. It's like, you know, you're probably going to want to use it for two different things, in which case you can do this quickly by toggling the key command control option command A, which is going to turn this feature off and then on. Again, I'll show you one more time what this does. So let's say I'm on track number 4 and I want to utilize latch automation. I'm just going to solo this so that I don't write anything and you can listen to me talk. So I'll press play and let's see here. I'm utilizing AQA, Automation Quick Access. And so then I'm done with that, right? So then I go to track, let's say number 3, and I'm like, yeah, now I want to affect the pan, right? So I click on that parameter, and the only reason that I'm able to update this parameter right here, my good friends, is because I have auto select automation parameter in read mode ready to rock. So again, I'll hit solo just for user experience. Let's say I turn on latch automation. I'm doing that by way of key command. I hit play, and then I'm utilizing AQA. You see how fast this is? This is what we want for you. This is what we're doing. We're creating a simulation so you see what's possible, and then you tell us what's possible once you're in the zone, once you're doing what you got to do. So this is a fantastic feature. Do not take this for granted. I'm telling you, this is going to really change your workflow only if you implement it. And if you do implement it, then I guarantee you, you will be that much closer to becoming a Logic Pro power user. We're going to shut down tomorrow. When I see you, we're going to be talking tomorrow. Actually, you know what? See, I love you guys so much. I forgot that we actually take Sundays off. And when I say Sundays off, it means that I'm in the lab and I'm working and I'm doing my thing. So we're going to cover smart controls when we catch you guys on Monday. I know you're looking forward to it. I want you to be here because I'm going to show you real world examples. I'm going to show you how to implement this today so that, again, you have a leg up on the competition. You can learn this program. You can sell your music. You can stream it, whatever it is that you're out to accomplish. What game are you playing? So we're going to be covering smart controls. How do we utilize it in terms of our master? How do we map these parameters on a controller such as the circuit? Or, again, if you have a separate controller. If you guys need a recommendation, I highly recommend the Launchpad Pro. Let me make sure I'm giving you the right name. One sec. Yeah, the Launch Control XL. It's by Novation. It's got a bunch of different knobs. If you're into this whole thing, it's a pretty sweet little controller. So yeah, look forward to a lot of programming, mapping screen controls automatically. So we're going to demystify this and make it easy for you to understand. I wanted to thank you so much for our time together. Again, it means a lot to me. You got to remember that I'm learning this information twice, right? So I'm interested in mastery. And so the fact that you make it, right, that you hold space, that you create this environment really means the absolute world to me because I know where I'm headed. And as you can see, by way of dedication and energy and enthusiasm, that I mean it. So thank you guys very much. My name is Eddie Gray. If you're interested in what we do, check out hfmusicacademy.com, and we're going to call it a night. God bless. Stay up, stay happy, and keep working. This is yours if you want it, but you got to get after it. Let's go!